crafty friends, it's Jenny Lynn. I'm really excited to share with you guys what my 2023 planner setup looks like, and I will just jump right in. For the time being, I'm keeping everything in this Hobonichi drawer pouch. It's so beautiful. The embroidery on it really sold me on the idea. It's a little bit stuffed. I'll show you why in a minute, but it's got these really beautiful tassels on it, and I love that it opens up all the way. So in the back, for really quick access, I've got my everyday sort of workhorse planner. I will go into more detail on that in a moment. And then on the inside, I carry this is a Hobonichi A5 notebook. So it's just gridded. And this is what I would call sort of a brain dump project planning type thing, right? So anything that does not fit in here, or I want to go into, let's say I want to use a few pages for like a backyard project or something. Here I did Christmas menus. I use this for that purpose. Some journaling, some, sort of just, I'm sitting on the couch thinking and I'm putting everything down on paper, right? Here's my one word for the year I was thinking through, which I will share it in more details at another point, but I went with Ikigai. Probably saying that wrong, but it loosely translates to your purpose, what brings you joy, what gets you out of bed in the morning. So these two go with me pretty much everywhere, and then I use this to carry all of my pens and things that I use regularly. So the pen that I absolutely use the most and is sort of, the go-to is this Kaweco. It has Ferris wheel press ink in it. So like a turquoise, really beautiful, I think it's called bluegrass or Kentucky bluegrass or something like that. It's really beautiful. So this is what I use. If I was just going to grab something, I would just take this. But I don't. I grab everything. So this is this gorgeous iridescent one I just got as a gift for Christmas that I love. I have it with a really pretty shimmery coral ink that my husband got me for Christmas. And then I've got a couple highlighters. And then I have this TWSBI, and I mean, the pen itself is beautiful, and the ink inside is this really gorgeous ink from Japan that I have to pull out to see what it's called, but it has a lot of color shifting in it. But this pen nib was specially ground. It's called the journaler nib. I'd have to look up exactly who did it. It was a while ago, but I love using that one, because it was a really big investment, but two, just because I love the way it looks, and you'll see it in my planner. So aside from that, I also carry some stencils with me, some pencils, let's see, what do we have here? A Tombow calligraphy pen, and then some other stuff that's on my desk over here that I'll probably show you at the end. So getting into the actual planner setup, the first thing that you'll notice is that I covered both of my planners, and I might take this one off at the clear cover off at the end, but both of them are covered in fabric. So it's so beautiful to hold. It's really tactile, and let's see, on the inside I put in a vintage piece of like a floral book, a botanical book, and then on the inside cover here I did a gold foiled scrapbook paper. I have sort of used this as a dashboard and put blank sticky notes to grab, and then I have a little corner pocket here. I just got this sticker when I was in San Francisco, so that's there. And it's so nice to hold. I will, in a few weeks, this thing will be covered in tabs. On this, what I do is I keep tabs in that are still relevant. So I've already taken out a bunch of tabs that were for Christmas. And when I was using this, basically I moved into this in the last couple weeks of December as a weekly, because my old system was not working for me. And I'll share that one day. I was looking for something that was like a Hobonichi, and I was using a letter size disc bound planner, which I still love, but it's just wasn't serving me this last like 6 months. So I had tabs on this, but now that those aren't relevant, I take them out of this piece. On this, I usually keep the tabs in because I love the way it looks when it's filled up with tabs. So this is a piece of fabric as well. The whole Hobonichi is covered. They're both not removable. I glued everything on. And then I have this little, the Weasley's car from Harry Potter. My son and I, he's 5 now, and we're very into Harry Potter together. So this sort of reminds me of that. And then on the inside cover, I have, well, here's my word of the year. My one word, Ikigai. And I did that in watercolor pencil, calligraphy style that I really love called monoline open shaded script, excuse me. And then this is a stencil that I got on Etsy a few years ago. And I just keep a little sticker here to remind me and to easily sort of mark the set of squares and circles that fit this planner, so I don't have to always look. It's very faint on here, which is fine, but now that the sticker's there, I know exactly how to lay it down. And then I always like to start off the year by adding a lot of stickers in. So this is a sticker of my kids, and I tipped in a piece of vellum over it, and I use that as a dashboard basically. And then I also like to always put in a picture of myself at the very beginning of the year. It's nice to look back and see, you know, sort of where you were at that moment of time. And then I just kind of, I was so eager. You guys all know, you feel me on this. Like, I was so eager to get into it that I started just kind of putting stuff down before the year started. So I put in, we had a professional photos taken in November. So I had a whole group of professional photos that I had to use. So I added one in here, and then I added one in the back, and I haven't used this pocket for anything yet. That's what the back looks like. And for right now, I have a quote book that I use just for quotes and verses from songs and things that I really love, and I just stick that back there for now. Okay, so as you can see, I have tabbed off January through June, and these tabs take me to the month. These are just little removable sticky tabs. I'm too timid to try to lay down non-removable tabs. And also sometimes I like to change things up, and I've not found over the years any issues with these. I'll show you in a minute what I use anyways to actually flip to it often to the current month. So there's 2 tabs on the top, and then there's 1 tab down here. The first tab takes me to the current month, and this is actually on December because we're going to do something in a minute here. But the way that I set up all of my go-to tabs, so the month, the week, and the day, is I tip in on a piece of washi a piece of vellum or hard scrapbook paper. So I'll just quickly show you. So this one has a piece of scrapbook paper, and this one has a piece of paper for this month's set of dailies. And that's what I attach the tab to. And these tabs are the 3M removables. And then what I do is I put a piece, I double-sided it with washi tape. So they're really decorative. And that's like my favorite washi. And then what I do is I have a little paper clip, and as the months go by, like for instance, we're now officially in January, I would just move the paper clip. I do it for a couple of reasons. First of all, I like to be able to just keep the piece of tipped in vellum or whatever where it is. And then this just, the washi clip serves to sort of keep moving it. And also I like having everything grouped together that is no longer relevant. You know, towards the end of this year, it does get a little bit unwieldy. So sometimes I will move this tip in or something like that. But several years, it's been completely fine and it's just worked that way. So again, I have one for the month. I have one for the week. And then I've got one for, there actually will be one in each set of the dailies for each month. So I'll put a piece of paper. And then you'll see here that I also add pieces of washi tape on the edges. So for each of the months, I always tip in a new piece of paper and I put in a piece of washi tape there. This usually is where I put high-level goals for the month. Sometimes I track things like the movies and things that I haven't officially decided yet. That's why I didn't write in this, even though it's already January 2nd. And then sometimes I get super lazy and I just put a bunch of pictures on it, and that's cool too. So it just sort of depends. So what I start with the monthly overview. And as I said, I was very eager to get into this. So as soon as I could get into the monthly for December, I did. On the left-hand bar, what I usually do is I write to-dos or my overall goals for the month. Usually I won't get very specific into little nitty-gritty things. And then for this specific month, I wrote some of our holiday traditions that I wanted to make sure that we hit. And then at the beginning of the month, you can see that I write in the big stuff that I need to know, right? So like I have a cousin flying in, I've got parties that we're going to, stuff like that. And then you can see here, as the month goes on, I will typically go in and start putting pictures in that represent some of this stuff. So I'm actually going to do this with you in a minute. I've already printed some of the last pictures that I wanted to put in here, and you can see how I do that. But I'll just make two notes. So like, for instance, here, this day was all about spending the day with my best friend that was in town. So this day I'll put a sticker there to represent that day. However, the following day I had several things going on, and just for the sake of being able to go back and see the several things that I did in one day, I don't cover that up. And the logic being that, as much as I want this to be a memory keeper, which it certainly is serving that purpose, I also don't want to cover up every single thing in the big picture, because I do go back and look at things. So if it was just one thing, like this day we went to Legoland and there was nothing else going on that day, that's fine, and I cover it up. If it was multiple things, like I had yoga, I had a cousin visiting, I had a Hanukkah dinner this day, I wouldn't cover that up. But in the dailies or the weeklies, I might go into more detail there if I wanted to put pictures or something like that. I hope that makes sense. It might sound a little overly complicated, but for me, that is a really good system. So actually, let's go ahead and just put these down. So what I do is, this is cut on my silhouette. So it's just sticker paper that I printed on. And then usually I will batch these. Sometimes I do it at the end of the month, but typically I try to stay on top of it weekly. So December 30th. So this was just a picture of my sister and my two kids. And then the day before, my sister took me and my mom to the most fancy tea, afternoon tea at the Breakers Hotel on Palm Beach Island. If you've never been to the hotel, it's just so incredible. A lot of history and a lot of very wealthy people that it's sort of fun to people watch. And then let's see, this one is from the 31st. So this is the last day of the year, and my kids and I woke up early and went to the beach and sat there on a blanket and just sort of took in a nice morning. And then this one, I always write the dates or I'll forget. December 11th, we went to the Miami Zoo and we rode on one of those funny family bikes, which was really nice, because if you've ever been to the Miami Zoo, you know that you have to walk on black asphalt for like the longest period of time to see an animal. And it's like my biggest gripe with the Miami Zoo. I prefer the Palm Beach Zoo. And we got the bike this time and it made all the difference in the world. So that was great. December 15th, my mom came down at night and here's a picture of them all reading together. And then these two are, these bigger ones are meant for the daily pages. So I'll show you what I do with those in a minute. So again, this is a silhouette printed and then cut exactly around the edges by silhouette. So I love doing it that way. And I have a template. I might drop it in here just to show you, but I have a template already set up. So it really takes me 10 minutes or less to pull all the photos in that I want for the week or the month and get them set up exactly how I want. So this is my month. I'm going to call December done. And then here's how I already started setting up for January. Again, big picture to-dos, which I'm going to populate once I finalize my goals. I'm working through my, this year I'm doing the Moxie Life goal setting. And so I'm going to finish that up this week. And then I will put in big goals based on this. And then, so again, here's each of the months, right? So I typically, if I have something to capture for another month, what I do is I will add a Post-it note. I like to do it all at once because a lot of the time what I will do is I'll switch up I like to keep my pens pretty consistent throughout the month, but then month over month, I might just switch them up to keep things a little more interesting. Okay, so let's look at, again, this is the tip-in and dashboard that helps me get directly to the current week. So this is actually last week. I'm just closing out the week because today was a observed holiday for New Year's Day. I'm still sort of in last week mode because I didn't have work today. So I take this setup from Architect Destiny, I think is her name, but very popular Instagram and YouTube planner that I think has a really functional setup, and that's always my goal. Of course, I like things to look pretty, and I absolutely want something to be inviting for me. But at the end of the day, for me, first and foremost, this is so I can open to this week and figure out, you know, what does my week look like and how can I try to slot in getting things done here. So she has a system that's sort of like this. I've done something similar in years past, but I really liked her buckets, which I've altered just a little bit. But she has one that she calls Don't Forget, and I call it Radar, like things I need to keep on the radar, but I don't need to act on right now. These are people that I need to contact. These are chores that I need to get done mostly each week. Things I needed to buy, priority items, errands that we need to run. This is almost always dropping off Amazon returns, but you know, going to the post office, things like that. And then art. So if you follow me on my other Instagram account, you will know that my art is my passion, and it's something, you know, I always have multiple projects going on, multiple workshops I'm taking, etc. So I have that here to keep track of those. One of the things I'm sort of struggling with is duplication here between my sort of main to-do list and then these things. I have switched it up just a little bit moving into the next week. I'll show you this in a second, but here's will be my to-do list. Again, wasn't focused on anything today because I don't have work and my kids are home. But so what I do is I use the square stencil to add any appointments or events. And then, so for instance here, I just finished that with my kids, and I met some friends for movies. So I would fill that in when that's complete. And then if it's a to-do item or a chore, so let's say that the chore is water my plants, and I'm going to do that, let's say Wednesday morning before I start work. So what I would do is I would create a circle here. So circles are for projects or tasks, to-do items. I'd create a circle here and I'd put plants, and then I would I would fill that in when I complete the task. So typically for my weeks, I set this up the week before, but each afternoon at the end of my workday, I will go through everything I've completed, and then I will set up the next day essentially the way that I intend for the day to go. So I know I want to start my morning watering my plants. I'd fill that in. I'd put in all of my work meetings. I'd block time off for work projects that I'm working through. And then, of course, that night, I would, based on essentially how busy my workday is, I will then see what I feel like I'm going to have enough energy for that night. So at least 2 nights a week, I try to make them sort of art nights, and that's when I try to get a lot of my art projects accomplished. And then the other nights I just spend hanging out with my husband. Okay, so this doesn't look like a very busy week, but of course I don't have all my work stuff in here yet. And then I'm also right now messing with tracking. So I've tried trackers so many times. I typically fall off the wagon like day 2. But so I'm not going to be tracking. I'm not going to be tracking like, did I drink my water? Did I brush my teeth? Or, any of that kind of stuff, like stuff that I know that I'm doing and I don't need to take the time to check it off, right? But there are some things, like I have been practicing Spanish every day. I was a little lapsed over Christmas, but I'm doing a Spanish app, so I really want to stick to that. I have yoga and meditation here. I'm signed up for several challenges, and I'm starting to go to a studio, so I'm going to be tracking that. And then also I have a goal of walking at least 30 minutes a day, so that is going to be tracked here. Okay, so the categories that I'm moving towards this week are art, errands, contact, buy, chores, and radar. I took priority off because for me, I would be putting those here. So I typically do not have all of that. And then finally, I was thinking this can sort of be a floating one. For instance, I'm planning a dinner party for next weekend. This might be to-do list specific to that project. So sort of like a project specific to-do list down here. Because that's one of the reasons I got away from using the Hobonichi last year, is because of that. I always have a lot of projects going on, and I had a hard time tracking those. So maybe if I have something like that, that might make it easier. And then finally, as far as weeks go, this is something I keep right inside my weekly, and I don't have it filled in yet because this is for work, so I didn't want to share all of it, but this is everything that needs to get done for January. And then on the back, I would have by week what I'm doing each week. And this just goes right in here like that. And I've got a big piece of washi on it and a sticky note to get to it quickly. But I also know that it's in this weekly one. Okay, so finally, I've got my dailies. And this is the real reason that I've come back to this system, because I really, really missed writing in the dailies. And I mean, there were definitely days or even weeks that I wasn't doing it in my old Hobonichi. But what I use my dailies for is sometimes I do use it as a true daily to-do list, and I will put, a whole thing in here. But mostly I use it for journaling and meeting minutes and things like that. It's sort of just wherever the day takes me, details that I need to capture for certain things, whether it's work or personal, I put it here. So for instance, you can see yesterday we went on a trail walk, and I wrote an entry here about it, and then I put this as a placeholder because this picture is going to go there. So I wrote here about how it's sort of become a tradition in my family with my kids and my husband that we go on a trail walk on New Year's Day. And we usually try to find a new place. So we did find a cool new place this year, and we actually saw a water moccasin or cottonmouth snake, and it was really cool. The kids were super excited about it. It was way below us on a boardwalk, so we were not in danger because they are very poisonous, like possibly deadly if you get bit. But it was really cool to see them, and so that was something awesome. So this was like a big thing that I wanted to capture in my planner. And then I probably, a lot of times what I'll do, and I can share some old planners as well that I really love, but I will also capture quotes and stories that my kids tell me. So my older son is 5 and my younger is going to be 3 in a few weeks. And you guys know kids just say the funniest things and it sort of evaporates, right? You hear them say something and you like are either floored by it or you think it's hysterical and you think you're going to remember it, but we all know these things are fleeting. So I typically will come in and just write random things from them. So here's today. So I know that today at 11, we went to the movies. And I won't go through this whole thing, but usually what I do is I'll make a line to it. And then I printed this off for that. And then I will just write a little journal entry there about this movie that was really funny and a great movie for kids and adults, and just about how this has become a tradition with our friends who have a daughter around my son's age, and that we love to go to the movies together and just really overindulge on popcorn and candy, and it's just a nice quiet sort of outing with the kids. So that I would write about there. And that's basically the system for right now. Of course, you guys know these things are organic. They change over time. In the back here, I kept a few pages. So I typically on this one will put what my ideal week looks like. And so really, it's a lot of work between work hours. And then what I like to do in the morning, what I'd like to try to accomplish before work starts and the kids go to school. And then let's say that my 2 nights a week that I do art are Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would put that on here. Again, it's just sort of ideal and it helps me think about how I want to set up my week. And then this is likely going to be a bill tracker so I can see and try to, month after month, dissuade myself from spending too much on my Amex, etc. But that typically does not, have the intended effect. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for, but we'll see. Favorites. I might put in here like movies or books that like just really stuck with me. I have previously kept like a tracker of all of the stuff that I read and watch, but unfortunately there's just way too many and it was becoming too much. So I track my books through Goodreads. I'm letting that, serve as that function. And then I track my TV watching through an app called Hobie, just as a sort of record of everything I've watched. So that's going to be enough. It's too much to constantly update that tracker. And then my 100, I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for yet, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. And then finally, I just used a piece. So this is a piece of sticker paper I printed on, and then I wrapped it around the edge, and I'll probably put something else back here. And then I put washi tape on it. So all of the Japanese pages, I didn't keep them. This is a moon phase tracker. For some reason this year, just felt like I really would love to know when the new and the full moon are, and I'm planning on attending more meditation and yoga around those times. I found a local studio that does sort of moon phase specific sessions, so that's what this is for. And then that is it. So I'm really excited. I know we all get super excited around this time of the year, but I've been itching to get back into a Hobonichi basically the last 6 months of 2023. And here I am, and I'm feeling really good about the system, and I've just been like carrying this book with me everywhere. I do have another Hobonichi planner cover coming, so we'll see. It's the Search and Collect line, but it's actually made for the 5-year, and I know it's supposed to be too big, but I figured with all of the stuff I have that it actually will be the right size. So I don't know, we'll see. That's supposed to come in a couple days. But otherwise, this is really working, and I hope you guys found this interesting. And if you are interested in covering your notebooks like this, planner covers or otherwise, I highly encourage it, and I'm happy to do a video on how I did it. I just think it just makes your notebook something that you want to constantly reach for. And obviously that's the goal, right? So thanks everyone. Have a great day. Happy New Year. And I will be sharing more soon.